The caretaker ran out of the nursery with tears streaming down her face. Her beautiful uniform was torn. Her forearms trembled as she pushed past the guards. She did not look back. She did not say goodbye. She simply fled like something terrible was chasing her. Queen Lysara watched from behind the one-way glass. Her heart sank. This was the seventh caretaker this month. The seventh failure. The seventh being who could not handle her daughters. Inside the nursery, two small figures sat in the corner. They were twins, Nira and Sola, 3 years old by Velasi counting. They had scales that shimmered like starlight and golden eyes that saw too much. They were princesses of the greatest empire in the galaxy. They were also the most feared children in the known universe. The twins were born different. They came into the world during a rare cosmic event. The stars themselves had aligned in a pattern not seen for 10,000 years. The priests called them blessed. The doctors called them anomalies. Everyone else called them impossible. Nira and Sola could project their emotions into the minds of others. Most Velasi children developed this ability slowly over many years. The twins had it from birth, but they could not control it. When they felt scared, everyone around them felt terror. When they felt angry, everyone felt rage. Their feelings hit like storms, sudden and overwhelming. That was not all. The twins were strong, much stronger than they should be. A genetic twist had given them the muscle density of adult warriors. They could throw furniture across rooms. They could bend metal with their tiny hands. They had hurt people without meaning to, and they spoke in a language no one understood, a private tongue shared only between them. They looked at others with those golden eyes and saw something no one else could see. Every expert in the Empire had tried to help them. Child specialists from the finest academies, psychic trainers who had worked with the most difficult minds, even a holy woman who claimed to speak with the cosmic spirits. All of them left broken. Some left bleeding. None of them lasted more than a week. The Emperor was losing patience. The Galactic Summit was approaching. Leaders from 40 species would visit the royal ship. They would expect to see the heirs of the Empire. They would expect calm, controlled, proper princesses. What they would get was chaos. Some in the court whispered that the twins should be sent away. A distant monastery, perhaps. Somewhere they could not embarrass the family. Somewhere they could not hurt anyone important. Queen Lysara refused. They were her children, her blood, her responsibility. She would not abandon them, even if every advisor told her to. But she was running out of options. 3 floors below the nursery, a human was mopping the corridor. His name was Danny Webb. He was 34 years old. He had brown hair that was always messy and kind eyes that looked tired. He wore the gray uniform of the maintenance crew. He pushed his mop and minded his own business. Danny had been a teacher once. Back on Earth, he had worked with young children for 8 years. He had loved it first. The energy, the curiosity, the small victories. But the system had worn him down. Too many children who needed help. Too few resources. Too much paperwork. Too little support. One day, he just stopped. He quit his job, sold his apartment, and signed up for the first off-world position he could find. Cleaning starships. It was simple work. Honest work. Nobody expected anything from him except clean floors. He had been on the royal ship for 6 months. He kept to himself. He did not make friends. He did not cause trouble. He was invisible, just another human doing a job nobody else wanted. Tonight, his assignment brought him to the nursery wing. It was late. The corridors were empty. He pushed his mop past the observation windows without looking inside. That was the rule. Do not look. Do not linger. Do not interact with the royal family. But then he heard it, crying, not just crying, sobbing. Deep, lonely, heartbroken sobbing. The sound of children who had given up on being comforted. Danny stopped. He knew he should keep walking. He knew the rules. But something in that sound pulled at him. It reached into his chest and grabbed hold of something he thought he had buried. He looked through the window. The twins were huddled together in the corner of the nursery. Automated systems floated around them, playing soft music and projecting gentle lights. The machines were trying to soothe them, but machines did not understand. Machines could not feel. The girls clung to each other like they were the only real things in the universe. Their small bodies shook with sobs. Their golden eyes were squeezed shut. They were alone. completely alone. And they knew it. Danny watched them for a long moment. His throat felt tight. His eyes burned as a sharp voice cut through the silence. A guard had spotted him. "You there. Move along. This area is restricted." Danny nodded quickly. He grabbed his mop and hurried away. He did not look back. He followed the rules. But as he turned the corner, he felt something strange. A tickle in his mind. A brush of curiosity that was not his own. Behind the glass, Nira had opened her eyes. She was looking at the window where the human had stood. Her crying had stopped. Just for a moment. Just long enough to wonder. Who was that soft creature? And why did he feel so sad? The child specialist from the Institute of Advanced Development lasted exactly 4 hours. He walked out of the nursery with his robes torn and his dignity shattered. His assistants had to carry his equipment. His hands shook so badly he could not hold anything that he filed a formal complaint. He called it psychological assault. He demanded that the twins be classified as dangerous. He said no civilized being should be expected to endure what he had endured. The court added his name to the list of failures. The list was getting very long. Danny heard the gossip while cleaning the lower decks. The maintenance crews talked about everything. They saw everything. They knew more secrets than the spies did. 7 weeks, one worker said. 7 weeks, and no caretaker has lasted more than a few days. The twins are cursed, another replied. Everyone knows it. The Emperor should just send them away. Danny said nothing. He mopped his section and moved on. But he thought about those crying children. He thought about them a lot. His new assignment kept bringing him back to the nursery wing. Someone had added it to his rotation. He did not ask why. He just did his job. But he started watching. Carefully, quietly. Through the observation windows when no one was looking, he noticed patterns. The twins were worst when people surrounded them. When caretakers came with their methods and their techniques and their expectations. When everyone was trying to fix them. That was when they screamed. That was when they lashed out. But in the early morning, when the nursery was quiet and only the machines watched over them, the twins were calm. They played together. They laughed in their private language. They were just children. Danny understood something the Velasai did not. The twins were not monsters. They were mirrors. They reflected back whatever was aimed at them. When caretakers approached with fear, the twins projected fear. When experts approached with frustration, the twins projected frustration. The cycle fed itself. Everyone was so focused on controlling the twins that no one thought to simply be with them. 3 days after the specialist fled. Head Chamberlain Vorith caught Danny watching through the glass. Vorith was tall and stern, and his 4 arms were always folded in disapproval. "You again," Vorith said. "Why does a human janitor keep appearing outside the royal nursery?" Danny knew he should apologize and leave. That would be the smart thing. The safe thing. Instead, he said the caretakers are doing it wrong. Vorith's scales turned a shade of angry purple. "Excuse me?" Danny took a breath. He had already crossed the line. He might as well finish. They come in with plans. Methods. They see problems to solve. The twins sense that. They feel like projects, not children. So they push back. "And you think you know better than the finest minds in the Empire?" "No," Danny said. "I just know what it feels like to be a scared kid that everyone has given up on." Vorith stared at him for a long moment. The Chamberlain was old. He had served 3 generations of the royal family. He had seen many things, but he had never heard a janitor speak like this. "Come with me," Vorith said. Danny followed him through corridors he had never seen before, past guards who looked at him with confusion, through doors that required royal clearance. They stopped in a chamber filled with soft light. Queen Lasara sat on a simple chair, looking out at the stars. She turned when they entered. Her eyes were tired. Her scales had lost some of their shimmer. She looked like a mother who had not slept in months. "Your Majesty," Vorith said, "this human claims he can help with the princesses." "I did not say that," Danny corrected quickly. "I said everyone else is approaching it wrong." The queen studied him. He was small by her standards. Soft. He smelled like cleaning chemicals and recycled air. He did not bow correctly. He did not speak with proper respect. But there was something in his eyes. Something she recognized. "Explain," she said. Danny told her about his years as a teacher. About the children who had been labeled problems. about the ones who hit and screamed and drove everyone away, about how most of them just needed someone who would not leave. Your daughters are not bad, Danny said. They are overwhelmed. They project their feelings because they cannot contain them. And everyone who comes to help them is already afraid or frustrated. The twins feel that. They amplify it. It becomes a storm. What would you do differently? Danny shrugged. I would just be there. No agenda. No methods. No expectations. Just present. That is too simple, Vorith said. The finest experts in the galaxy could not succeed. You expect us to believe a human janitor can. I am not promising success, Danny said. I'm just saying everyone has tried everything except simply being calm and staying. Queen Lasara looked at him for a long time. She thought of her daughters, of their lonely eyes, of all the beings who had come to fix them and left broken. 1 week, she said, under constant supervision. You will have 1 week to try your simple approach. Danny nodded. His heart was beating very fast. That evening he stood outside the nursery door. His mop and bucket were gone. Guards watched him from every angle. Cameras recorded his every move that he put his hand on the door panel. Inside, he could already feel them. A pressure in his mind. A warning. A test. He opened the door and stepped through. 2 pairs of golden eyes locked onto him immediately. They were predatory, suspicious, dangerous. The twins did not move. They watched. They waited. Danny closed the door behind him and sat down on the floor, and he said nothing at all. The pressure hit Danny like a wave of cold water. It was fear, pure, concentrated fear. It pushed into his mind and made his hands shake. His instincts screamed at him to run, but he did not run. The twins sat across the room, watching him with those golden eyes. They were testing him. Every caretaker before him had either fled at this point or tried to fight back mentally. Both reactions made things worse. Danny just sat there. He let the fear wash over him. He breathed through it. He had felt afraid before. This was not new. It was just louder. After a few minutes, the pressure changed. The twins were surprised. This creature was still here. This creature was not screaming or crying or building mental walls. He was just sitting. Danny reached into his pocket and pulled out a small notebook. He always carried one. Old habit from his teaching days. He found a pencil and began to draw. Nothing special, just simple shapes. Circles, squares, a little house with a triangle roof. He hummed quietly while he worked. A song his mother used to sing. He did not look at the twins. He did not try to engage them. He simply existed in their space, in our past. Sola, the bolder twin, began to creep closer. Her movements were slow and careful, like a predator stalking prey. Her sister Nira stayed back, watching with wide eyes. Danny kept drawing. He sketched a small bird now. Simple lines. Curved wings. A tiny eye. Sola got close enough to reach him. She waited. She wanted a reaction. When none came, she snatched the notebook from his hands. Danny did not grab it back. He did not scold her. He did not even look upset. He simply pulled a second notebook from his other pocket and continued drawing. Sola stared at him. This was wrong. This was not how the game was played. She was supposed to take his thing, and he was supposed to get angry. That was how it worked with everyone else. She threw the notebook at his face. That IT hit him in the nose. It hurt. Danny winced, but did not react otherwise. He kept drawing. Now both twins were confused. Nira crept forward to join her sister. They stood together, staring at this strange, soft creature who would not play their game. They tried other things. They screamed in his face. They threw toys at him. They projected anger and fear and confusion directly into his mind. They hit him with their small but powerful fists. Danny endured it all. His head hurt. His body hurt. His mind felt like it had been through a storm. But he did not leave. He did not yell. He did not try to control them. He just stayed. As the second hour ended, something changed. Nira stopped throwing things. She stood very still and looked at Danny with her head tilted. Then she did something no observer had ever seen before. She projected curiosity that IT felt different from the fear and anger. It was gentle, light, like a soft tap on the door of his mind. Danny looked up. He met her eyes, and he smiled. That IT was a real smile. Tired but warm. The kind of smile that said, I see you, and you are not scary to me. Nira did not know what to do with that. No one had ever smiled at her like that. Not the caretakers who feared her. Not the experts who studied her. Not even her mother, whose smiles were always tinged with worried. In the observation room, chaos erupted. Vorith was shouting for recordings. Guards were calling superiors. No one could believe what they were seeing. "You should be unconscious by now," one technician said. "The psychic assault he has taken would break most beings. Humans are psychically deaf," another replied. "Maybe he cannot feel it." "No, look at his readings. He feels it. He just does not care." Inside the nursery, the session was ending. Danny had been there for 3 hours. His body ached. His mind was exhausted. But he had not left. He stood slowly. Every muscle protested. He looked at the twins and said simply, "I have to go now, but I will come back tomorrow." He turned toward the door. A small hand grabbed his pant leg. Danny looked down. Solo was holding on to him. Her golden eyes were different now. The predatory gleam was gone. In its place was something raw and vulnerable. She projected a single emotion into his mind. It was not fear or anger. It was a question. "Stay?" Danny knelt down, so he was at her level. He looked in her eyes and felt her sister's gaze on him too. "I will come back," he said softly. "Tomorrow. I promise." He gently removed her hand from his leg. He walked to the door. He did not look back because he knew if he did, he might not be able to leave. The door closed behind him. In the nursery, Nira moved to her sister's side. They held hands the way they always did. But something was different now. For the first time in their short lives, someone had made them a promise. And somehow, they believed he would keep it. Outside, Danny leaned against the wall and let out a shaking breath. His whole body trembled. He felt like he had just run a marathon through a hurricane. Vorith approached him with an expression that might have been respect. "You lasted longer than anyone," the Chamberlain said. "The Queen will be informed." Danny nodded weakly. "Same time tomorrow, if he can still walk." Danny pushed himself off the wall. His legs barely worked. His head was pounding. "I will be here," he said, and he meant it. 2 weeks changed everything. Danny came every day, just as he promised. Morning to evening. He brought small things from the human food stores. Toast with jam. Crackers with cheese. Simple treats the twins had never tasted. Sola loved the jam. She would stick her fingers in the jar and lick them clean. Nira preferred the crackers. She would nibble them slowly, making each one last. They built a routine together. In the mornings, Danny would arrive and sit with them for breakfast. They did not talk much at first. They just ate together, being close, being calm. In the middle of the day, they played. Danny taught them simple games from Earth. Patty cake, though they had 4 hands instead of 2. Hide and seek, though the nursery was small. Drawing contests, which Danny always lost because the twins could hold 2 pencils at once. That he taught them songs. Children's songs from Earth with silly words and simple melodies. The twins did not understand the language, but they loved the sounds. They would hum along, making up their own words in their private tongue. In the afternoons, Danny would lie down on the soft floor and close his eyes. The twins found this very strange. Why was he sleeping? Was he sick? Was he dying? But soon they understood. It was rest time, and somehow, without knowing why, they would curl up beside him. 2 small bodies pressed against his warmth. And they would sleep. Real sleep. Peaceful sleep. The kind they had never known before. The court whispered about it constantly. The human janitor had become a fixture in the royal nursery. It was absurd. It was improper. It was working. Danny began to understand their language. Not the words, because there were no words any translator could catch. He understood the feelings beneath. When Nira was scared, she projected something that felt purple and cold. When Solo was happy, it felt like sunlight on skin. That he learned to respond in kind. He would think of calm blue waters when they were upset. He would imagine warm blankets when they needed comfort. His projections were weak and clumsy compared to theirs. But they felt them. They appreciated them. 3 weeks in, something magical happened. Danny was showing them pictures of Earth animals. Dogs, cats, birds. He pointed to each one and said the names slowly. Sola pointed at him. Her golden eyes were bright with concentration. She opened her mouth. Dan, she said. The observation room went silent. The twins had never spoken properly before. 3 years of experts and specialists, and not a single word in any known language. And now this small princess was pointing at a human janitor and calling him by name. Nero was not far behind. For days later, she tugged at Danny's sleeve. He looked down at her. Soft one, she said. Her voice was quiet but clear. Soft one, stay. Danny had to look away. His eyes were burning. He pretended something was in them. Yes, he said. Soft one stays. Queen Lysara came to the nursery unannounced one afternoon. She had been watching through the cameras, but cameras could not capture what she needed to see. She found Danny on the floor. He was covered in paint, blue and green, and purple smeared across his uniform, his face, his hair. Both twins were in his lap. They were giggling. Her daughters were giggling. Danny was telling them a story. Something about a rabbit who wanted to reach the moon. His voice was soft and animated. He made silly sounds for different characters. The twins were completely absorbed. They looked happy. They looked normal. They looked like children. Lysara could not speak. She stood in the doorway with tears rolling down her face. She had forgotten what her daughter's laughter sounded like. Later, when the twins were napping, she spoke with Danny privately. How, she asked. How'd you do this? Danny shrugged. He looked uncomfortable with the question. Kids just need to know you will not leave, he said. They need someone who shows up every day, no matter what. Someone who sees them as people, not problems. The finest minds in the galaxy could not reach them. The finest minds came to fix them. I came to be with them. That is the difference. Lysara studied this small human. He was not impressive by any measure. He was not strong or powerful or wise. He was just stubborn in a very specific way. Vorith tells me you have made enemies, she said. Some in the court wanted the twins sent away. Your success has disrupted their plans. Danny's jaw tightened. I'm not here for politics. Politics does not care. You're visible now. Some will try to study you. Others will try to remove you. I just want to take care of the girls. Lysara nodded. She understood that kind of simplicity. She had felt it herself once, before duty and empire and expectation buried it. That night, as Danny prepared to leave, the twins held his hands. They did not want him to go. They never wanted him to go. Nira looked up at him. She projected something new, something he had never felt from her before. It was warm and deep and ancient, a feeling that had no word in any language, but Danny recognized it anyway that he knelt down and hugged them both. His heart felt too big for his chest. From the doorway, Lysara watched. She whispered words in Old Velasai, a blessing spoken over protectors of children. Words that had not been used in generations. Danny did not understand them, but he felt their weight settle on his shoulders like a cloak he had come to space to run away from carrying. Instead, he had found two small souls who needed him more than anyone ever had, and he would not let them down. The Galactic Summit brought 40 species to the royal ship. Ambassadors and diplomats filled the corridors. Every hall sparkled with ceremony. Every conversation dripped with hidden meaning. And today, the twins would make their first public appearance. Danny had spent weeks preparing them. They practiced in the nursery, pretending the stuffed animals were important aliens. Danny would make his voice deep and silly, introducing himself as Ambassador Fuzzy Bear of the Stuffed Kingdom. The twins would laugh and practice their bows, but practice was not the same as reality. The Grand Hall was enormous. Thousands of beings filled the space. The noise alone was overwhelming. Lights flashed. Conversations echoed. The air smelled of 100 different worlds. Nira and Sola stood at the entrance in their ceremonial dresses. Their scales had been polished until they gleamed. Their golden eyes were wide with fear. Danny walked behind them. He wore simple human formal wear, a dark suit that did not fit quite right. He looked completely out of place among the glittering nobles and powerful diplomats. The court was scandalized. A janitor accompanying the royal princesses? It was unheard of, improper, embarrassing, but Queen Lysara had insisted. Where the twins went, Danny went. That was not negotiable. Remember what we practiced, Danny whispered. If you feel scared, squeeze my hand. Two small hands grabbed his fingers. They squeezed immediately. They did not stop squeezing. The announcement came. The princesses were introduced. They had to walk across the hall to the royal platform where their parents waited. It felt like 1,000 miles. They walked slowly. Danny stayed right behind them. He kept his eyes on the back of their heads. He thought calm thoughts. Blue waters, soft clouds, warm blankets. They made it halfway before everything went wrong. An ambassador from a rival empire pushed through the crowd. He was large and loud, and his mental signature was aggressive. He wanted to see the famous Chaos Princesses up close. He wanted to test their reputation. He approached too quickly. His mind radiated challenge and predatory interest. Sola felt it hit her like a fist. Her fear spiked. Her control shattered. She began to project. The terror spread through the hall like ripples in water. Beings stumbled. Some cried out. Guards reached for weapons without knowing why. Panic bloomed in every direction. The diplomats would later describe it as the most terrifying moment of their lives. A wave of pure childhood fear, amplified 1,000-fold and broadcast directly into their minds. Danny moved without thinking. He stepped between the ambassador and the twins. He knelt down and pressed his forehead against theirs. Both of them, at the same time. I am here, he said. I am here. Feel me. I'm not going anywhere. He began to hum their favorite song, the silly one about the rabbit and the moon. His voice was shaky but steady. He pushed calm into his mind, not the weak projections he usually managed. This time he dug deep. He thought of every peaceful moment he had ever known. Summer evenings on Earth, his mother's kitchen, the twins sleeping safely in his arms. That he gave them everything he had. The twins felt it. In the storm of their fear, they found his calm like a lighthouse in darkness. They grabbed onto it. They held tight. And then something remarkable happened. For the first time in their lives, Nira and Sola channeled their ability on purpose. They took Danny's calm and they amplified it. They pushed it outward the same way they had pushed their fear. Peace spread through the hall. The panic faded. The fear melted. In its place came warmth. Safety. The feeling of being held by someone who would never let go. Hardened diplomats found tears on their faces. Warriors who had seen 100 battles felt their shoulders relax. Even the aggressive ambassador stumbled back, overwhelmed by sudden tranquility. The hall fell silent. Then slowly, softly, someone began to applaud. More joined. The applause grew. It rolled through the grand hall like thunder. Not for the diplomacy or the ceremony. For two small girls who had just shared something beautiful with 1,000 strangers. The twins looked up at Danny. Their eyes were bright. Amazed. We did it, Sola whispered. You did it, Danny said. I just helped. The rest of the summit passed smoothly. The twins sat with their parents on the royal platform. They behaved perfectly. When beings approached, they projected polite welcome instead of fear. The aggressive ambassador found Danny afterward. He apologized. His species valued strength, and he had seen strength today. Not in the twins. In the human who stood between them and danger without hesitation. That night, back in the nursery, the twins refused to sleep unless Danny stayed. Queen Lysara gave permission. She gave more than permission. She ordered a bed to be brought for him. A permanent place in the royal wing. As the twins drifted off, Nira projected something toward Danny. It was not curiosity or fear or even the warm feeling from before. It was something older, deeper, a word that every child learns before they can speak. Danny felt it settle into his heart. He knew what it meant. He knew he should not let it mean so much. He was just a janitor, just a human, just someone passing through. But the feeling stayed. And in the dark, with two small bodies pressed against him, Danny Webb felt something he had not felt in a very long time, that he felt like he was exactly where he belonged. 6 months had changed Danny Webb's life completely. He was no longer a janitor. His new title was Royal Guardian and Companion to the Princesses. It came with quarters in the royal wing, a salary he did not know how to spend, and the constant attention of a court that still could not believe what had happened. The twins had changed too. Not fixed, because they had never been broken, but they were flourishing. They still had chaotic moments. They still projected their emotions. but now they had tools to manage it. More importantly, they had someone who loved them without condition. Danny wrote letters to his sister on Earth. He told her about his strange new life, about the alien children who called him Soft One, about the queen who treated him like family, about finding purpose in the last place he expected. His sister wrote back that she was proud of him, that she always knew he had more to give, that their mother would have been happy to see him caring for children again. Some days were hard. The court still had factions that resented Danny. Some Velasai found it shameful that a human held such an important role. They whispered and schemed and waited for him to fail. He tried not to think about them. He focused on the girls. That was all that mattered. The warning came 3 days before the twins' birthday. Vorith pulled Danny aside with a grim expression. Intelligence has uncovered a plot, the Chamberlain said. A faction within the Empire wants to remove the princesses from succession. They consider them unfit to rule. Remove how? Vorith did not answer. He did not need to. The attack will come during the birthday celebration, he continued. We are taking precautions, but these conspirators have allies everywhere. You should stay close to the children. I always do, closer than usual. And Danny, Vorith hesitated. You are not a warrior. If something happens, your job is to protect the twins and hide. Leave the fighting to the guards. Danny nodded, but something cold had settled in his stomach. The birthday celebration was beautiful. The grand hall was decorated with lights that floated like stars. Music played. Important guests mingled. The twins wore matching dresses and matching smiles. For 2 hours, everything was perfect. Then the lights went out. Screams erupted in the darkness. Danny heard the sounds of fighting. Energy weapons fired. Bodies fell. Someone was shouting about psychic dampeners, devices that blocked the Velasai mental abilities. Danny grabbed the twins and ran. He knew the ship by now. Every corridor, every hiding spot. He had walked these halls 1,000 times with his mop and bucket. He found a supply closet and pushed the girls inside. Stay quiet, he whispered. Do not make a sound. He could hear footsteps approaching. Heavy, purposeful. The assassins were searching systematically. The twins clutched his hands. They were terrified. The dampeners blocked their abilities, so they could not project or sense anything. They were blind and deaf in ways they had never experienced. I am scared, Nero whimpered. I know, Danny said. Me too, but I'm not going anywhere. The closet door burst open. 3 assassins stood in the hallway. They wore dark armor and carried weapons Danny did not recognize. Their faces were hidden behind masks. Step aside, human, one said. We have no quarrel with you. Danny did not move. He stood in front of the twins with his arms spread wide. He had no weapons, no combat training, no powers of any kind. He was just a man standing between killers and children. No, he said. The assassins hesitated. They had expected guards. They had expected resistance from warriors. They had not expected a soft, small human refusing to move. This is foolish, another assassin said. You cannot stop us. Maybe not, but you will have to go through me. He thought of all the times people had given up on the twins, all the caretakers who fled, all the experts who failed. Everyone had found reasons to leave. Danny did not have a reason to leave. He had found something worth staying for. The lead assassin raised his weapon. Sola grabbed Danny's hand. Nira grabbed the other. They squeezed with all their strength, and something impossible happened. The dampeners blocked Velasai abilities. But Danny was not Velasai. He was human, psychically deaf, the experts had said, unable to project or receive. But he had been projecting for months. Clumsily, weakly, just enough for the twins to feel. The twins grabbed onto that connection. They used Danny as channel. Human minds were different. The dampeners did not affect them the same way. Together, the 3 of them gathered every ounce of defiance they had. Every moment of fear transformed into fury. Every memory of being abandoned, being doubted, being underestimated. They pushed. The blast hit the assassins like a physical force. Pure emotion amplified beyond anything the twins had ever managed alone. The killers crumbled. They fell to their knees, overwhelmed by the psychic wave, drowning in feelings too intense to process. Danny collapsed, The strain was too much. His mind had never been meant to channel that kind of power. Darkness swallowed him. When he woke, he was in a medical bay. Soft lights, quiet beeping. Two small bodies curled against him on the bed. The twins were asleep. Their hands still held his. Queen Lasara sat in a chair beside them. Her eyes were red from crying. When she saw Danny stir, she leaned forward. "The guards found you unconscious," she said softly. "The twins were standing over you." Solo was growling at anyone who approached. Nero was projecting a warning so strong that even the medics felt it. Danny tried to speak. His throat was dry. "They saved me," he managed. "You saved each other. The conspirators had been arrested. The threat was over. The royal family was safe." Lasara took Danny's hand. Her grip was gentle but firm. "I want to offer you a place in our family," she said. "Formal adoption into our house. You would be brother to my daughters in the eyes of the Empire." Danny looked at the twins, at their peaceful faces, at the way they held onto him even in sleep. "I do not need titles," he said. "I just want to keep being here for them." Lasara smiled. It was the first real smile he had seen from her. "That is exactly why you deserve them." 1 year later, the twins stood before the court on their next birthday. They were taller now, more confident. Their golden eyes shone with pride. When asked to demonstrate their abilities, they chose to share a memory. They projected it to everyone in the hall. It was the memory of their first day with Danny. The moment a tired human sat down on the floor and did nothing at all. The moment they realized someone had finally decided to stay. Danny watched from the crowd. His eyes were wet. He pretended it was allergies that a noble beside him leaned over. "How did you do it? How did a human janitor succeed where our finest minds failed?" Danny thought about it. He thought about all the complicated answers he could give. The psychology, the techniques, the patience. But in the end, the truth was simple. "I just showed up," he said. "Every day. No matter what. That is all kids really need." The noble looked confused by this answer. But Danny did not explain further. Some things did not need explanation. Some things just needed someone willing to stay.